Hello. So thank you for all that watched the introduction video or the full video understanding the eclipse in general. There was a lot of information there, and there was a lot that I was trying to cover so you guys could totally understand. One thing that I forgot to cover that I want you guys to understand what this is before I get into it. So by the way, before I even tell you that, I'm going to be discussing in this video pretty much what area of your life this is going to affect depending on your rising sign. So this is going to be a major thing. This is the first time that I'm ever really going in deep as far as like horoscope wise. So I'm so glad that I'm able to do this, and I'm excited. So I hope you guys have your rising signs. Now again, this can apply to your sun sign and your moon sign, but the order of the importance is your rising sign, your moon sign, and then your sun sign. So you're going to heavily relate with your rising sign more than you will your sun sign, which we're normally used to saying, you know, if somebody's like, oh, what zodiac sign are you? That's that sign, you know. Oh, I'm a Virgo. That's the sun sign. But we need to find out what the rising sign is. And I included the website to go to find this out for those that don't know, and that is astro.cafe, like coffee, so cafeastrology.com, okay? astro.cafeastrology.com. So if you guys have the ability to go on and look as I'm talking to you somehow, if you have like a computer or iPad that's, you know, mobile and able while you're watching this, awesome. So before I actually get into that, I wanted to also tell you guys about why this moon is actually called the blood moon, because that's a major thing. Now this is also kind of crazy because there has been so many scriptures within the Bible talking about when the moon is red that all this stuff is going to happen. I actually talked to my friend about this earlier, and we were discussing how much, you know, there is a lot of symbolism in the Bible, of course, but also the fact that like this is causing a lot of people that are like freaking out, you know, oh my God, this could be the end, this is a part of Revelations, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. What the blood moon really is I actually have a picture from the last time that I talked to you guys about this, so that's super cool. So this is the way the eclipse actually works. It's called a syzygy in science. It's perigee syzygy. That's pretty much the sun, moon, and earth system. So the way that it works is that you have earth here, and then you have the moon that's right here. And what happens is that the moon is blocking the sun, because the sun and the moon, although the sun is way bigger than the moon, it is exactly the distance in percentages away from it as far as the times that it is larger. So what that basically means, I think it's like 30%. So it's like 30% larger. The sun is 30% larger than the moon. However, it is also 30% away from the moon as well. So it's crazy how that works, right? Is it actually crazy? Quote unquote. All right, so basically what happens is that the moon is actually blocking the sun as far as the distance and completely resetting. And what happens is that we don't see the sun at all, so it's dark on this side. During this process, what occurs is that there's two areas of eclipses. There is the penumbral and then there's the umbral, okay? So what happens is the earth is actually, it stretches out blue rays, okay? Because it's, you know, there's a lot of water on earth. So there's blue rays that's stretching out, and what happens is that when an eclipse is in, I would say more so when it's in its partial eclipse or something like that, or if it's going across but in the penumbral shadow, it's causing that blue look to it, but it's like dark, okay? So like then the dust from the air can actually get in the way of it as well, and it causes the moon to look dark. But the reason why it's red is because red rays are actually refracted inward, and that's causing there to be a red glow onto the moon. So that's pretty much what that moon, like why the moon is red, okay? Now again, that doesn't take away your spiritual beliefs. If you believe, I'm totally for everybody's beliefs. I don't judge anybody. If you believe in certain things like that, where you feel like that might have to do with verses in the Bible, then that's your belief systems. But that is the reason scientifically why the moon is actually red. So I just wanted to like tell you guys that, because it's in the umbra rather than the penumbra. So when it's penumbral, it is going to be more so blue or darker, like in that area. But if it is in inside, like when it's all the way in the umbra, then that actually makes it red. All right, so I just wanted to cover that, but now let's get into the best part, because this is going to be extremely detailed, and I hope that you guys totally get some awareness from this. And please like, comment, share, let me know. I wouldn't say subscribe because it's Facebook. But I will tell you guys this. I do have a page. Eventually, all my videos will be going on that page, and that is Open Your Mind 1111. So please join that, because that's going to be a page that in the future will be the page that I go and do videos. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's start. So let's start with Aries, since that's the first sign of the zodiac. So Aries is going to be affected in the 11th house, okay? Again, before I get into this, there's going to be a video about houses that I will be posting tomorrow morning. So that will give you guys some insight as far as the houses, so you guys can go back and, you know, study that as well. So they'll give you more information. So Aries will be affected in the 11th house. So what this really means is that the moon will bring emotional awareness, and it will bring endings in the area of friendships, organizations. This can also be realizing what you need for your hopes, your dreams, and any kind of gains that you were trying to achieve, okay? This is putting the mirror on what your emotional needs are based off of where is my direct destiny trying to go, right? Because 11th house is all about gains. It's about our wishes. It is about what we're actually trying to achieve in life. And it is mainly also about not just gains in monetary ways, because that's more so second house. 11th house is our gains as far as it's 11. It's our ability to manifest things, right? So in order to manifest something, you have to have the proper resources to do so. So that could be networks, that could be organizations that you're involved with, that could be, you know, elder siblings as well, because the 11th house has to do with elder siblings too. So there could be some kind of ending with something that has to do with an elder sibling, or a tie to an elder sibling. I don't want to say, you know, death, because that's just going extremely drastic. I'm not going to also say that that couldn't happen, because again, things happen and it's possible. You know, I'm refraining from being, you know, too much, but at the same time, I'm also realistic. 11th house, again, like I said, friendships, networks, organizations. What else is 11th house? 11th house, yes, your ability to manifest things, to get the things that you need. So there's going to be some involvement of emotional needs and understanding within that area of life, okay? Taurus. Again, these are rising signs, guys. Rising. Taurus is 10th house. So 10th house is public persona. It is career. It is who you are when you step out of the door of your home. Okay, because your 4th house, which is opposite from the 10th house, is Cancer. That's your home. So that's stepping outside of the home and going out into the real world and saying, okay, now that we're out here, who am I to society? So that's basically what that is, okay? I had somebody actually that messaged me personally about this, and they sent me their birth chart, and I told them it was in their 10th house, and I expressed to them that this has to do with an area of like, you know, it has to do with work. It has to do with your career. It might be that you have to cut a traumatic situation that happened in the past, because again, we're keeping that same theme of karmic loss, right? Karmic, letting go of something karmic. So basically that 10th house is letting go of something karmic, because ultimately it's going to affect you on a public persona level. What I mean by that is basically because think of what 10th house is originally governed by Capricorn. It's originally governed by Saturn. So Capricorn is all about public persona, public image. So if you have this moon in this karmic separation, it's going to affect your 10th house of career. All right, so that's basically what that's about. Also, father's teachings, a major thing to understand too, because what happens is that we're learning things from our father in the 9th house, and then we're taking that and we're going to publicly personify that in the 10th house, okay, to get to the 11th house of gains. The reason being is because in traditional sense, what you used to do, and when I say traditional, I mean way back then, what you used to do is you would take your father's teachings and your father's career, and you would almost, it would be passed down to your lineage, right? So now you are in that area. You're like, okay, this is my father's job, and I'm going to take this family company and I'm going to turn it into something magical and continue the family, story, etc. So that's what that's about. So the 10th house has to do with that area as well, as far as father's teachings or father's public image. It could be that as well. This is also the discipline, how you see discipline. So this could be something with an ending with that as well. Like, in order to allow yourself to be disciplined, to get your gains that are in the 11th house, you have to end something karmically. All right, so that is Taurus. Gemini is the 9th house. All right, so if you are a Gemini rising, you are going to be affected in the area of your belief systems, in the area of not just your belief systems. This could be spirituality. Now, I shall tell you this. 12th house is spirituality, because that's your subconscious. 9th house is your religious beliefs. However, if your religious beliefs are spiritual, this would apply to that, okay? So what that would necessarily mean is this is your teachings from your gurus, your teachers, your parents, your guardians, anyone that was over you and teaching you something to make you a better person. Or it doesn't even have to be a better person. It could just be teaching you something to where you're learning something that you didn't know, gaining consciousness from someone. The people that guided you towards a direction, that's 9th house, okay? 9th house also has to do with long distance travels, because it's ruled by Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is all about that long distance travel and getting to a specific destination and learning something from it, so it can now go back to where it comes from, right? Because Sagittarius is about foreign journeys. Go back to where it comes from and now be able to guide other people, because Sagittarius is the teacher. It is the one that wants to, in a way, sometimes could even try to like cult things out a little bit, like form a cult and teach and be the speaker. Like that's that Sagittarius energy. It is the one that you go to as far as a leader, because Sagittarius are big on that. They are big leaders. So that being said, that makes perfect sense. Jupiter is the teacher when it comes to planets. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It is the guru of our solar system. So that being said, that's basically what the 9th house is about, and how you might have some endings when it comes to that. Or let's say that you are on a trip, a long distance trip. Now you might have an ending to this long distance trip, so that way you can now go back to where you came from. Or maybe there's a karmic ending on this long distance trip, or there is an ending so that way you're allowed to go long distance. There's so many different things with that too. Let's see what else as far as the 9th house. So yeah, 9th house is, your teachings in general, your father's teachings. I mentioned that previously when I was discussing the 10th house. I was talking about your teachings from the 9th house are publicly personified in the 10th house, the teachings as far as your father. But this also applies to your father's teachings in the 9th house. So maybe there's a karmic ending with that. Maybe your father taught you something and you didn't believe it up until now, and then something happened recently. Something sparked this energy of now you're letting go of something karmically, and you're learning and really being able to embrace what your father was teaching you. Okay, so that's 9th house. So for Cancer, we have the 8th house. Again, Cancer rising, not sun, Cancer rising. So for the 8th house it's kind of ironic, because 8th house is death and rebirth and regeneration and transformation all in itself. So for there to be a karmic ending there's a really big karmic ending. So anyone that has like a Cancer ascendant, if you have this in the 8th house, major. Now, that being said, I do want to cover something which I should have said earlier in the video, and I apologize if this was not given, but I will make sure that I write something about it on a post later. This is specifically for your rising sign. However, your rising sign is all depending on the way your chart is set up, and sometimes your rising sign, depending on where it is, could be cut off right at that like last degree. And even though you might be like a Cancer ascendant, you still might have majority of Cancer in the first house, so that kind of off balances your whole system there. and this is just to give like an example, it doesn't show exactly where the ascendants start here, but usually the ascendant starts right around here. So let's say that your ascendant starts here, right? Like right at that point, right there. What happens is that now all of this is in your first house. Whereas sometimes your ascendant might start down here. So now all of this is in your first house, right? But that, I mean, your first house, and then you skip down to your second. So my point is that you might have a chart off a little bit. So it's depending on where, you know, everything is placed in. But I would advise you to get the right information by looking at counting exactly where Aquarius starts. So that means, when I say Aquarius starts, you'll have these triangles, not in this one because this doesn't show that, because this is not a birth chart for a person. This is a birth chart for the moon. That sounds crazy, right? But it is what it is. So the way that it is like, you'll see triangles, but it's where these little inserts are. Okay, guys? That's where things start. So you're going to go to Aquarius, right? And you're going to count 4 degrees down from where it starts, because that's exactly where the moon is. All right? And as you can see, Mars is right there. That's what I was saying in the other video. So you're going to see where 4 degrees is, and then based off of like the inside, it'll tell you what number it is. That's where it is. All right, where you're affected. So let's get back into it. So as far as, so now we have Cancer. So Cancer is in the 8th house, death and rebirth. Cancer, 8th house is Scorpio. All right, so it's already that energy of that Ketu, because Ketu is that Scorpio energy. It is that past energy. So that being said, what happens is that in this era, there could be a death in the family, or a death around you at some point, or there could be something that is karmically ending because it's bringing in an inheritance of some sort, because 8th house has to do with inheritance, it has to do with secrets and psychology. Maybe something occurs that causes you to realize that you need to go seek therapy, or maybe secrets come out, and that's the ending towards something, like the ending towards secrets to get you to rebirth in some way, you know. It could be something sexual as well. You know, 8th house has to do with sex and sexuality. In that case, it could be an ending that could be caused from that, or it could be the rebirth of something because now you finally have sex with somebody. It could be something like that, but it was that fear of crossing to that was causing the issue. Something karmically that has to do with those areas. Also, 8th house is in-laws. 8th house is the gains. That's another thing too. 8th house is other people's money, other people's value. Okay, so this could be the ending of you seeing the importance in just your value, and now you're starting to see someone else's value. Or it could be the opposite. It could be the ending of being so focused on someone else's value that you start seeing your own, because again, those are opposite from each other. 2nd house is our value, and 8th house is other people's values. So maybe there's an ending with that as well, so that way you could say, listen, I'm paying so much attention to someone else's value that I'm not actually seeing my own. So that's that as well. 8th house is a cult. A cult is our practices that are hidden, similarly to astrology. This could be secret cults. This could be secret societies, different things like that. So this is witchcraft, or Wicca, or paganism, you know, because even though paganism is starting to come out in a more public way, it's not celebrated publicly on a regular basis like, you know, Catholicism or Christianity. So those are considered to be occults. So there could be something with that that you're dealing with, or you're in a secret society, and you know, something happens, and it's a death and rebirth to something that has to do with that. All right, so those are those. All right, now I'm going to end, and I'm going to come back on, and I'm going to talk about Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. Okay.